Okay, so today, I'm Pharaoh, by the way. Today I'm going to, rather than build, because I mean I built a quick Corvette. I carried on from where I left off last stream, and just kind of built like a warbirdy type, blocky, quite basic ship. There are a lot nicer ships out there, but this will do me for now. And it's not really up to scratch in terms of combat. I have upgraded it to S-Class, which if you're not sure, you can do in the normal terminal. The one way down there underneath. Right, let's go to it. So you can upgrade your ship here. I don't know why there isn't one closer. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but upgrade Starship. And you can either purchase storage or purchase class, and I've obviously upgraded the class 3 times. I'm considering buying a bit of storage just because there's maybe there. It's not like I haven't got the money on this save. Whether I'm actually going to take this out and do some of the things I want to try with this ship, I'm not really sure, because for a start there still seems to be a few bugs. For instance, I've only got 2 of these on my ship, and yet it's showing 3 of them, and I've seen other people have crashes when they've tried to remove them, so I'm a bit reticent to do that. I've only got 1 of these and it's put 2 of them on, so again, some kind of problem there. I've only got 1 of these, it's put 2 of those on. So yeah, there are some problems with this. There are some early teething problems. I'm not on the experimental build, but see, I've got 1 shield deflecting thing. I've got 1, 2 of those cannon things. And I've got 1 missile launcher, so I shouldn't have all of those multiples. So I'm going to ignore that for now. I'm going to fly my normal fighter. Or whatever I have on this. What do I have on here? I have the Starborn Runner. And I have the Wraith. What have I got on the Wraith? Problem with the Wraith is not exactly a war machine. I want to do the pirate missions to start with, because theoretically you can get salvage from pirate missions, and I have briefly experimented. It does seem to be the case, but it's not very common. And I haven't tried standard pirate missions from space stations, so let's see if we can find one of those first. Let's also switch out of it's better. So any space station should do, apart from so let's see what the mission board has to offer. Hi, Gravnaut. Catch one. I do wonder if some of these new missions on the mission thing in the ship would have pirate kills. very dry at the moment. I was out in the sun all day on Bank Holiday Monday in England, and just don't feel like I've rehydrated much yet. No. It's also worth having a look on the anomaly, I guess. I'll try 2 more of these, and if we don't see any, I'll go to the anomaly and see what the current missions are. When I was experimenting, I was in a pirate system and running pirate missions. Of course, they're not always there either. They're a little bit more common, I think. Hunt pirates, that'll do. So I've never been 100% sure if you need to actually gather these things. There's clearly an animation for the little what are they called? Barrel things that come out of them. Out of habit, I always fly towards them after I've shot them. It's not a bad little ship for combat. Although the eyes seem a little bit quick to run down. Come on. I seem to miss most of the barrels and don't seem to gather the booty when I miss. Don't seem to. Well, I want to make sure I gather them. So, I mean, often we're killing in quite close range anyway. Seem to be getting mostly normal stuff, don't they? Oh no, I got a cargo link. Whatever that is. Good morning, Alphys. Good to see you. So currently I'm testing the killing pirates for salvage, which I don't think is a very effective way of getting salvage. But I wanted to see roughly how much you get. And in these pirate missions, you do have to fight quite a few pirates, so there are plenty of rolls of the dice, as it were. Star shield battery. Completely pointless these days. Get relic. I think this is just a random thought I was having yesterday when looking at the fact that they've now brought in the yet another bartering system. That maybe they should change the way that guilds work and make those a bartering system as well. It might feel a bit better than this kind of strange, doesn't refresh, but you can kind of force it to refresh if you know what you're doing thing. I spent roughly 30 minutes on a salvageable scrap planet and got plenty of stuff. Where else do you get them as drops? Well, this is one place. Where am I going? This is one place you get them as drops. You can also get them as supposedly as mission rewards. I've not seen that yet. You can get them from derelict freighters right at the end of the run, which I'm going to do as well. I'm going to try and do all of the different methods. You're supposedly able to get them from crashed freighters. I might be missing one or two. So in that whole pirate mission, I appear to get one thing. Industrial. Oh, hang on. I just remembered I've got that to tidy away in here. Industrial cargo link. So it didn't seem particularly effective. Yeah, let's go to the anomaly, see what the emissions are at the moment. I don't know if different types of pirates will drop different things. Do higher bounties, for instance, drop better things? I doubt it. But... yeah, I think there are... Hello. Got a, someone walking around in the sky. Wonder if they're on their own ship or something. That's invisible to me. Yeah, my experiments yesterday when I was briefly trying this in a pirate station was similar. I didn't get a very good return. We're going to the Nexus, aren't we? Hunt dangerous pirates. Yes, I think that ship must have been there. And now my ship is buried underneath. No, not quite. That shouldn't be there. They are fixing this in the experimental, stopping those landing on normal. Landing pads. It's just that you realize just how many of the different parts of the game are impacted by this new update. When you see all of the bugs. I've got a scan for them, haven't I?
Hostile ships approaching.
Yeah, I've just stopped looking at what I'm doing. Make that smaller so you can actually see above my head. Don't know if I'll be able to see what I get, but I'll read them out if I get anything interesting. But you can see, that's fine.
Hostile ships.
So that's 2 with no parts, I think.
Hostile ships approaching.
What do you get? You get a wave of 2, a wave of 3, and a wave of 5, I think. I haven't done this for so long, but it sounds right. Some of the ships are invisible when they enter the anomaly. So you see a plane, yeah. Well, it definitely happened that time, but that ship shouldn't even have been there.
Hostile ships defeated. Hostile ships approaching.
See how many we get in the last wave. It looks like another 3. No, 4. I don't like the way they're able to shoot at odd angles and we can't. Suspicious packet. Just my lighting slight. I'm getting a slight on my shoulder. No, lighting doesn't change it.
Hostile ships defeated.
Right, so I don't think I got anything then, did I? Let's have a look. Oh, I did get a high energy shield. Should maybe put all of these down here so I can immediately see on the top left hand corner what I'm getting. Honestly, I'm not obsessed with staffs. It doesn't seem like a particularly effective method of farming. Now, I think someone said you can get them from cargo pods, so I might have to look at that as well. At least you can usually scan those without actually killing things. To check there were no rewards for... No part rewards there. What was that? There was a note about the readouts telling you where your ship is, but I don't think it's one of these. I was a bit confused about that note. I'm not sure what it means. There's nothing over here, is there? No. So, what else? Maybe have a look at ordinary freighters. What? That's not good. Switched views and I can't see. Okay. Well, let's have a look on the scanner first. So there is... No, that's just that. So there's nothing here at the moment. Yeah, so I don't know if they mean any old piracy. I'm not even sure if it's true, to be honest. Have a quick look at the patch notes. Hang on, I'll read them out rather than put them up on the screen. Corvette modules can be unearthed from salvage containers buried on worlds across the universe, as well as discovered in derelict freighters. Modules can also be sometimes retrieved from defeated pirates, which we've done, freighter cargo pods. So yes, that suggests all freighter cargo pods. Crashed freighter crates. Yeah, so that's going to be on planets, I presume. Frigate expeditions, or received as rewards for completing missions. So frigates might bring them back. I've got my my view on so wide it distorts the planets. I might have to... Let's just see when my last... Okay, let's reload that just to see if I can get my first person view back as normal. That is just weird. I wonder if this is to do with the new changes to transparency, and they haven't thought on and sorted out this particular cockpit. Yeah, that's just unflyable. I mean, it's an interesting effect, but you don't really want it like this. Nothing's popping in on this. I don't know what it's sustainable. It's not the best place to be. That should be better. That's even worse here, look. I'm just going to try landing, reloading, and... because I like using first-person view to at least find my way around and look for things. Either that or I switch to my other ship, I guess. So that's clear now. So it must be a bug. It's just left the visor up, and even reloading didn't work unless I was in that view while landed. Okay, so you're getting those problems with blinking icons again. Both of these are the other side of the planet, and so it's trying to show them there and also there. So part of the routine is telling it to put it there and part telling it to put it there. It's seems to happen quite a lot, and then they fix it and then it happens again. I wonder if it would just be ordinary cargo pods that we can't get an idea of what's in them. Try a few more first. This is actually very responsive, so every time I try and pull back, it's flying me backwards quite fast. Yeah, I think I might have to actually just shoot cargo pods The ones that are labelled as such. Yeah, that's a frigate. Went too far out. Nanites.
Hostile scan detected.
Whatever the drop rate is, this doesn't feel worth it. Oh, I wonder. Oh, that's a frigate, isn't it? I feel like this is a dead end before we even start. Yes, structural gantry, whatever that was. So it does work. Whether it's worth it, considering the heat you get for it, probably not. Yeah, as Gravnot says, it's very much like trying to use that method for salvage frigate modules. It's just not the way to go, I don't think. So the next one is doing a freighter derelict. Now this is at least consistent, but obviously it costs money. Quite a lot of money. Obviously 5 million isn't an awful lot of money for people that have got 2 billion, but depends where you are in your save, really. This is my serial expedition save, so it's picked up quite a lot of stuff over the years now. Right, let's fly in that direction. It just looks the same. For a derelict, I think you get 3 or 4. We'll see. I can't remember exactly. I did it once very quickly last night. I was actually just experimenting on how you landed at derelicts, but you can see you land on these pads if you're using a Corvette. I seem to have changed the landing light system. Now, one of the things I'm interested in for these is whether you always get the same thing at a particular freighter, a bit like you get the same class of part if you go for a module. I always pick up the repair kits. Great. It's going to be one of those where you have both these and the nests, I bet. Hopefully it won't have nests as well, because they're not ideal for running quickly. But let's just run through it without worrying about anything else. The lighting is odd because these are really well lit. I guess they've got illumination from inside. And everything else is really dark. But these are all consistently lit. They don't dim from distance. So it just makes the lighting a bit strange. Where's the exit? Must be down here. And that's where it came from. I thought that was open. Shows you how lighting's odd. So at least there are no nests. So it won't be too difficult to just run it twice and see what happens. It's an option. I'll show you when we get there. So it's not the drop as such. So I'm not like opening anything. I couldn't see any obvious in the last freighter I ran last night when I wasn't streaming, I just opened everything and I didn't see any drops at all, but I did see it here. And they've changed this a little bit. So now you say fabricate items and then you choose which item you want. So technology upgrade, freighter bulkhead, Corvette modules. So now the interesting thing will be is if this is consistent every time. So I got a let's just read them after they've come up. I think that's it. So Kineas stream thruster and domed casing. So I didn't grab anything else. So theoretically, if I don't want to confuse the system because this particular it's easy to generate a bug where it will stop you being able to hand in your various pieces you get from the freighter, like the log and stuff. It's always the end terminal. Look, I've got that thing again. Was it clearing? No, it's not clearing. So Let's go back to the same system. It looks like I'm going to have to land and reload to get rid of the visor. Why am I being attacked? And you should get attacked straight away as you come into a system. Didn't really want to have a fight with my visor up. Okay. No, I'm confused now. We seem to be in the middle of a space rescue, but I was nowhere near the ship. Unless my my visor was making me so bland and so blind. I wonder if they've changed where we spawn in. Oh well, it's a good excuse to shoot some pirates and see what happens. I don't know why I'm using that weapon. It's a crazy weapon to use. Before they improved all the weapons, I used to use the phase beam for everything. Just because it was most fun. But it wouldn't work very well now. How many pirates have I had to fight? It seems a lot, but maybe it's just because I'm not making very quick work of them. Don't even have any rockets because I'm using this ship. Come on. Terrible shooting. Okay.
Hostile ships defeated.
I think the Was the ducting joint from before? Oh no, those were from before. Maybe I should move them into there. Because if they're the same, they're going to end up stacking, I imagine. Small Venator. I like the Venator style. I would even be tempted to swap if it was an S. Because I'm not a big fan of the Dreadnoughts. It's a B. Now I'm wondering, didn't mention it in the patch notes, but I'm wondering if the rewards changed. Cargo bulkhead still. I wonder if when we use a Corvette in that situation and then land and get out of our cockpit, whether it makes an autosave. Because we don't make an autosave on our normal ships. Right. After all that, we want to buy another. It's going to cost 10 million now, isn't it? And will our visors still be... It's better, but cleared it. Didn't have to reload. So it was... was that and that, wasn't it? The domed casing and the kinostream thruster. Well, obviously, you wouldn't normally speedrun them. You would gather all the other things and make it worth your while. What I'm interested in is whether it's always the same things in different systems. So you might think, oh, I really want that thruster. Because I think the way it's supposed to work, and I don't think it worked straight away on the initial release, but in the experimental update, it's apparently been fixed. You can't buy things and then trade them in the I can't remember what they're called, but in the better option. You can't trade standard items for advanced items. So at some point you might just think, well, if I can get this particular advanced item in this particular system, maybe it's worth 5 million. was there, wasn't it? Don't seem to get hurt doing that anymore. Maybe it's because this character has decent shields. I still would have expected the ouch sound. Ambassador class cockpit and Arcadia wing module, so they're not predictable. It's a shame. Because some of the items are quite expensive, and some of the barters are really quite mean in terms of what you have to give in order to get something else. It would be quite handy if you could say, just do this derelict in this system and you can get this cockpit, for instance. Those derelict freighter emergency broadcast, but yes, they can be got for free, yeah. But they're not that common, though, I don't think. I don't know what the drop rate would be. So I'm just going to see what the... There's none more in there, no. What kind of exchange rate we get for those items if we were to barter out of interest as opposed to... By the way, I was dreaming of being able to actually have a gunner, so I put a chair in there, but obviously it's just a spinny chair. You can see the gun just outside, but it's almost like a gunnery pod. It would be really nice. I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to do is that. Right, so these things and those things. Just want to see that what that kind of thing can get you. So, for example, if we wanted to say we wanted to get those. See, that feels quite mean. That it's like a thing. It's like a thruster for another thruster, and good's not bad though. But these don't seem to change much. Ah, okay. Go on to excellent at least. Take that out a second. See, that's low. So these just don't seem to do anything. There are 3 of those. I don't know if I No, it won't let me put more than one of them in. Unless it's lost them. No, it hasn't lost them. No, they're all there. I quite like the look of these. I've seen some people with these, but I don't think it'd really fit on the ship I've got at the moment. Anyway, building the ship isn't the thing we're doing. Notice that if I do that from here, it does seem to put it in this first one here, which is handy. Yes, I've seen some very nice ones. One of my favourites being a sailing ship. So let's just tick off the ones we've done. So let's go back to the website a second. So salvage containers, berries on what? So that's the standard one we did yesterday, but we'll probably do again and just check on things, as well as derelict freighters we've done, retrieve from defeated pirates we've done, freighter cargo pods we've done, crash freighter crates, that's the next one really. Frigate expeditions, obviously that's just whether they bring them back or not, so that's not going to be that consistent. And completing missions, that's just if you spot something. So the main one really we haven't done is crash freighters. Okay, I'll be right back in a second, then we'll do that. Okay. And we're back. So have I got a load of... Is it... Oh, it's going to be the emergency one, isn't it? So it's going to be... So I've only got 5 at the moment. So probably want to get a few more before we go hunting. Whoa. Not used to flying the a ship that has the override in it. Okay. So what am I looking for? Cartographer. Change specific charts. All right. We have plenty now. Haven't had time to build one yet. Where do the cargo inventory show up for the storage? Is it like display for... No, it's not, unfortunately. We don't get a tab. I'm quite glad because I don't really like the tab option on the freighter, to be honest. I wish there was just a separate tab with freighter stuff because it's not good user interface design. Someone who has studied user interface design. So yeah, so the only way you can access is directly from here. But that's not a bad thing. I mean, I quite like that. I quite like the look of them. They have different looks depending on the areas. So there's a grungier look. Some of the walking around could be a lot smoother, especially like those rotations. Dunk, 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 dunk. Some part there is... Yeah, this is displaying weirdly. I actually got stuck in just down here somewhere. I loaded into a new save and I was stuck just in that part there. And I couldn't get out and I couldn't even use any of the controls apart from looking around. And luckily, changing to a different, the other save unlocked me. But that could be a serious soft lock in some circumstances. Oh look, we've got a we've got an incorrect marker again. Still haven't fixed that. Come on, get off that landing pad. Thank you. Yeah, put it there anyway. No. Oh, for base building. My hunch would be no. We can test it, I guess. We're going down to a planet anyway. So the question was, are storage containers contents accessible for base building while your ship is parked next to you? Now, obviously, they're accessible if your freighter is parked in the system. It's a lot of water on this planet. It might cut down my options. And it's not the easiest place to navigate around. That one's got salvageable scrap. Is that where we are? Well, I don't have the freighter in this system, do I? No. And also, I think it's quite nice that we now have options. Not everybody likes freighters. We can play without a freighter now and still have relatively good access to things. But I think it will make it a bit harder for building. Just realised I already have a base on this planet, so probably easier to go there. Of course, they have the option now of just introducing whole new sets of parts for specific things, so they could introduce new gameplay elements entirely if they wanted to. So this doesn't necessarily have to be the total list for getting salvaged parts. Fuel rods 2. Is that it? Did I put those? Did I just get those as well? I think I must have. Let's fly to my base. What I actually, just to demonstrate, what I didn't notice yesterday was the ability to park high in the atmosphere and beam down to the planet.
Technology. Reach out.
Don't know how this is going to work over water. But that seems to park you. Okay, we had a nice little wave effect. And it's created a floating beam aboard. That's very nice. We're definitely messing with the physics of this planet. Because I have been asking for that. Can we just beam down to the planet from our freighter for forever? So I'm relatively happy, even if it's not our freighter. We now have the ability to beam up and beam down. Even if you have to get into the atmosphere first. We only have to just be in it, I think. Obviously, it'd be more fun to skydive, but... yeah, they've definitely thought this through. I mean, as I said, there are quite a few bugs, but it's not surprising because this has impacted so many elements of gameplay. Right, so what we really need now is to see... Oh, I probably can't land it because I haven't got the water thing in it. Darn! It's scuppered me. I'll have to go to a different base after all that. Still, we saw the water effect, so it was well worth trying. This is so much faster these days. I was trying to take off. I was forgetting I see, I should, theoretically, because I've still got on the bottom left-hand corner, you can see coordinates. I should be able to park as soon as I see those coordinates. So if I just come in slowly, there, should be able to park here. Seems to be a bit lit. I honestly thought you couldn't get out when I first tried to do this because of this little lip just here. So it makes building orbital bases a lot easier now. I mean, we fly around in one for a start, but... we just need a parachute for the final landing, just for the fun of it. See if there's a... I don't know if it automatically puts a beam up and down. I keep following the marker. No, I can't see this. No, I can. Ah, okay. So unless it's put it on the seafloor by mistake, it should be here somewhere. It doesn't appear to have. No, it should be here somewhere if it was, and it's not. Yeah, I like the skydiving animation. I just wish there was a little tiny bit more to it. But they have given it so much attention to detail. I can't really complain. I really do need to make this ship able to land on water. And I do love the way that the landing animation turns around. And that really is the purest of cockpits in terms of visibility. Especially considering I've got it on 120% at the moment. Right, so does this base... Now that sounds like a fishing base as well. I was obviously fishing when I was making these bases. Let's go to a different... Play it safe. We'll go to a different base and test it. Now I feel like we've... Oops, gone the wrong way. Oh no, I hadn't gone the wrong way. Now I feel like we should be able to use a short-range teleporter that can beam us to our... Whoa, falling through, falling through, falling through. Never a good thing. There's my entrance. I know I have one. There it is. Yep, it's doing it again. Now I'm stuck. Right, let's try and approach it from slightly closer. Oh, not going to mess around with. Right, let's just delete it. It's too much trouble. I'm not falling through now. Right. Back to stay on target. This I noticed the other day, not just that there was a problem with where the ship lands. There's no longer an island there. It was a floating island, and now it isn't. It's obviously moved. So now I'm caught in the ship. Look. See if I can get myself out of the ship. Where's the sofa? Yeah, because there's a bug at the moment with sofas. We fall through the landscape. So that got me out. A bug for a bug. Right. So, test is, can we use our storage containers to build with? Now, what I want to do is remove all of my ferrites. See any more ferrite? There's none in my starship, none in my exocraft, none in my... I guess there is stuff in my freighter. So let's put that there. I might be able to move it. No, I can move it to the starship, that's all. See, the fact that it's not on here, to me, suggests we won't be able to. That's ship. We're in the wrong base. That's better. Okay, so this is a pure ferrite, and it says I have 0, and I don't seem to be able to build. So no, you can't build from your storage, even if your ship is within proximity. So maybe that's a suggestion we need to send Hello Games, that we should be able to do that. Shame, but I didn't expect it. Okay. Yeah, it feels like you should be able to. So I definitely think it's something we should and could request. I think it's just a matter of it being added to the quick transfer, because And everything in our containers, when the freighter is in the system, that's got more than those 4 tabs. So I think if it was added to the transfer items list, then it would work. So I don't think it would be very difficult for them to add. You can transfer backwards and forwards from base storage containers really easily, and they don't need to be powered. So I've never considered them a problem that you can't build from them. But then the first thing I do in every save is try and get the matter beam on my freighter. So, but for having a game where you, like a playthrough where you just didn't have freighters, it would be perfect. We also need to be able to have a game mode that's abandoned, but with the ability to build Corvettes, because it just makes sense. It almost makes sense that they would be the only ships you could have are things that you build yourself. So they need to get on that, I think. They need to think that through. Right, where were we? Looking for crashed freighters was the next thing on our list. Yes, you can get it from an expedition, but that's only going to... No, that would work for every... Well, we're going to have to test that. It's theoretically true. But it is a good point. We probably can transfer Corvettes via an expedition. Right, for those that don't know what I'm doing here, I'm exhausting all of the potential finds without going to any of them. So that we have a complete roster of places to go, and then I'm only going to go to the crash freighters. Because then every time I select one of these charts, it will just give me another crash freighter. I love the way it rushes through the bubbles. I think the bubbles look a bit better as well now. Someone was saying that they are seeing distorted planets where everything's wavy and weird. I'd like to know if that's true. If anybody's got some coordinates, we'll maybe check one out. I don't know how many of these there are now. I may have exhausted them already, but let's just do this for a couple of seconds. Yeah, there's no way there's any more there. Okay. So we're looking for the crash freighter. That's the distress beacon. That's the distress beacon. I'm pretty sure it mentions that it's a crash freighter. Abandoned building. Has it found one on a different planet? No, it's just pointing upwards for no reason. Crash freighter, there we are. I mean, I can't see any reason why we can't use a Corvette as our main ship that we would take with us. And then take back again. Or pick one up on an expedition and then take back again. Especially as this expedition, we're going to get one anyway. But obviously other expeditions would have to build one while in that mode. Excuse me. Should have skydived, shouldn't I? Okay, my normal, I don't know if I've got all of these yet, so let's just... Right, my normal method is to start here. Because that way I know where I've been and where I'm going. I've got a living ship, so I will keep those. So I got one straight away. It would be nice to think that these drops are more common here, because it makes more sense for a crash. Miss. So 50% so far. Hit. Oh, that's something I want to test, actually. They've changed this, haven't they? Yeah, they've done away with the beam, I think. Because it was actually causing problems with transparency. So I wonder if they've just sacrificed it. It was making things disappear inside its radius. So we're still about 50%, I think, aren't we? This makes getting salvage frigate modules harder. That would be annoying. Again, I have to investigate the drop tables at some point in the game files. See what changes they've made. I don't know if they're available yet. I'll have a look in a minute. So we got... Did everybody have those? We definitely got that. We definitely got that. Can someone just check back a few seconds before when I last looked in my exosuit and see if we got all of those? Because that seems very generous. I don't think we did, though. Fuel rods, perhaps. Maybe not that and that. I'll be a bit more thorough this time. I'll put them in my container. Got a cargo bulkhead. Or did I already have that? Right. Doesn't look very far away. I really need to put some landing gear in this. I just did the wrong one. I'm a little bit reticent to start messing around with adding things while there seems to be a bug still with placement and also duplicating things. The duplications seem to have gone away. But the things have moved since I last looked. Don't worry, we'll be a little bit more meticulous this time because I've it was close by, wasn't it? I put everything in the container this time, so you shouldn't have any confusion. Let's skydive down this time, just for the fun of it. It's a rushing wind sound as well they've added. Whoops, didn't want to scan. You can skydive quite quick. Right, so I've got nothing in my inventory there, and no duplicates or anything that would stack. Nothing, the starship's too far away, and the freighter hasn't got anything where they would stack. There are different grades of freighter, and I've never been able to work out if you can tell which one you're looking at based on it looks like they have fixed that. Things where things are disappearing. Just double check. Asset rocks were disappearing. Yeah, that's not disappearing through there. So that looks like they fixed that transparency issue. Do this one? No. And it looks like they've fixed the being able to just grab it without shooting through the ground. Again. Another thing they fix, and then, as I've said before, I think there's a couple of different versions of the code that they mess around with. And whenever they have real problems, they go back to the safer one that allows you to do things you shouldn't really be able to do, but doesn't have as many issues. No luck on this one so far. No. Nope. I'm just going to see if I can access it from the ground. No, I can't. Trying to, yeah, I can access it there. So it's slightly through the ground, but it's probably only just below now, I'd imagine. Yeah, it's only just below. Going to get a full dose of radiation here, though. So I didn't get anything that time. So I may have just been lucky with the freighter. They also said that they've fixed these timers a bit. The arriving in timers. I think mostly space related, but they said they've made it a bit more accurate. Destination blocked. I wonder if that's because I'm directly above it. Have we got anything to put in there? No. Where is it? there it is. Didn't think it could be that far away. So if this doesn't give me any either, then it's just looking like the most reliable method is always going to be searching on planets. So I've got different things here. I haven't just got the fluids, the recycling items. I sometimes wonder if that gives you a clue as to what grade of container, because there are a few grades. I think there's 2 or 3 grades of container. And they have different drop tables. But I don't know if that's correct or not, whether that's the indicator. Definitely one of the times when it's easier to use a mouse than the controller I use. Yeah, a lot easier, except I didn't actually access. I came out of it too quickly. I also was getting a problem when I was setting up for today's stream, where it wouldn't let me use my controller. If anybody has that problem, I think what's happening is somehow Windows is ending up, as you're going into Steam and selecting the game, Windows is ending up having control of the controller. So what I found the best way to fix it was to select the actual app for the controller. Where is it? There. Slightly lower than usual. And then go out of it, and it worked. I don't know if that's a Steam problem or a game problem. Where's my ship? There it is. Oh, it has a little marker, the teleport marker. So I've got nothing there either. So this isn't looking like the most promising way of getting. Let's do one more. Yeah, it's picked up the same crash freighter. That can happen. Especially if you've moved away from it. No, I think we'll call it then. Because destination reached. Now see if we can do let's Do it from here. That it's still selected the same one. Frustrating when that happens. You can usually get away with going to a different part of the planet. So for the sake of demonstration, we'll try that. And testing. But obviously you can go to a different planet in the system, because all of the markers are still in the system, not just the planet. I keep turning around and then realizing it's already turned me round. Okay, so that's about 11 o'clock-ish. And just over the way. You can actually skydive through the clouds from here. I should try out that really, really high mountain that I was playing with in the update before last. Purple System Mountain. See if you can skydive just by jumping off a platform. I think it was on this save. It's an animal. I wonder what that noise was. Okay, so last freighter we'll check. Nope. I mean, obviously I'd never scoff at a multi-tool expansion slot, but... Nope, but I never scoff at a cargo bulkhead. Yes. Did it give me more than one thing? No, it didn't. It just gave me the oversized canister link. it's probably because it hasn't completely That's better. It's always in a very slightly different position, but it's close enough that I don't bother to scan for it. Nope. So only one thing. I'm thinking this is not a very good hit rate. And my ship is over there. Is it just not close enough to see the? Oh, I used the skydive. I didn't beam down, did I? So it hasn't put the beam there. Ouch, ouch, and ouch. I wonder where that sofa ended up. Did it end up in this build, I wonder? Can't see it. I wonder if it just stayed on that planet. Okay, so I think we've exhausted all of the possibilities apart from the obvious, and the obvious one being the one we tried first in the previous stream, which is just to go to a planet with salvage. And although we have a reasonable haul of stuff. I think I had a couple of things before, but I had nowhere near that many things. I think I started from there, and all of those things are new. We've got quite a few things, but nowhere near as effective. And I think even some of those were salvage, weren't they? From a salvage, from a normal container. None of those. Must be something we discovered nearby. What's that? We haven't even got the drives in here. Don't really want to be messing around with those either, for the time being, until the bugs are fixed. Salvageable scrap. So it's Bonnie Major. It does mention that the pulse is quicker in the patch notes. It did seem quicker. So it decided then to put it on the ground because it was near enough, presumably. What a lovely planet to go salvaging.
Weather update. Storm clearing.
Oh, that was my ship, wasn't it? No, maybe it was a tree. Oh, no, it is. There it is. I might make a straight to video as opposed to a stream, a on-demand video about the possibilities that they could use Corvettes for, because a few different things come to mind. It's opened up a brand new scope in the game that I know a lot of these updates do tend to do that, and then we never see much come of it until much later on, maybe. Like, for instance, the way that it took a long while for settlements. But I feel like now we have switched to settlements, and hopefully switch, or at least switch to Corvettes. I feel like they are in a position to take advantage of some of these things. So I'm hoping we'll see new types of gameplay with Corvettes. Say, for instance, as the first one that comes to mind is being able to mine asteroids in spacewalks, maybe for different minerals. But there just seem to be a lot of possibilities. Recently boarded Corvette. It's kept it on my scanner. There it is. Ow. Now that's suddenly further away than I thought it was. I probably was just misjudging. don't think we can see it on the scanner. I don't think we get them. No, it doesn't look like it. There's one. Now, it's such a controversial issue, PvP, but I really do think there are ways of implementing PvP that don't necessarily involve heavy combat emphasis. Looks like you can use the neutron cannon to destroy everything before you actually dig. Let's get out of the way of this sentinel. And as you say, what alliances are one of them. I mean, if there's been so many kind of hints and suggestions, for example, that we might eventually see like Void Mother versus Atlas choices. And even if it was just like some kind of player versus player point scoring, or just player versus, I mean, faction versus faction point scoring, or faction versus faction community missions, instead of all community missions going towards Quicksilver. Maybe they would also, depending on which faction you've chosen, you would accumulate points for your faction. Yeah, I have a strong suspicion that Light No Fire will be a little bit more PvP related. And I know it can be a bit of a controversial thing these days. I think there's been so many PvP games, or games that have implemented PvP where it hasn't gone well, or I mean, the classic example is Star Citizen, where they have never really properly implemented it. And then so everybody just assumes that Star Citizen will be like that at the end when they finally release the game, whenever that will be. But I have a strong... Oh, we do have the beam still, but it's just going straight up now. I have a strong suspicion that Star Citizen won't... I think I've lost the track of that. And I'm not a big Star Citizen person anyway, so there's not much point in me commenting on it. But yeah, I think... What was I talking about? Light No Fire. For instance, the whole thing about the Corvette system actually being a ship system that they've implemented into Light No Fire. Now, the first time we ever saw that leak, I don't know how many people saw that leak, but I think it was that Bomber Boy leak where he showed the an ordinary ship and being able to build around it is like, it's obviously a test system for the Corvette build system, and you could take off with whatever you built around your ship. But it didn't work once you went into space and things like that. So it wasn't a full implementation of anything. It was just a test bed they'd implemented in the code. And the minute I thought that, I thought that's for ships, not for spaceships. I thought it was for like seagoing ships. And it seems like that was the case. but they've also implemented it in No Man's Sky. And so the way that Sean talked about ship crews in that just made me think PvP. The instant he mentioned it, it just made me think of ships fighting each other.
Weather warning. Incoming storm.
Isn't Star Citizen been in development for ages now? Yes. I mean, I think they have expressed hopes to bring out the single player game, Squadron 42, this year or next year. I think it's this year. Maybe next year. I can't remember. And that's seen as an indication that then they can focus on the development of Star Citizen. My concern with that would be if Squadron 42 makes them lots of money, then it would stand to reason that they would start bringing out some kind of paid content for that. And that would even further delay Star Citizen. So we will see. I've always been a bit skeptical about Star Citizen. I think that might have been the point I was going to make, is that I personally don't believe there is such a thing as a game that can please everybody. And so I think there's this ideal in people's heads that you can have a game that supports PvP pirating, but can also be for a single player who doesn't really want to play PvP because they can do other things like get support from other people, and they're kind of missing the point that a player chooses what game they want to play and how they want to play it based on their own personal playstyle preferences. And they're not going to be tempted into playing a game that has PvP potential, even if there are ways you can avoid it, because they're just going to say, well, that's not my game. And I think that's going to limit the game. It's going to stop the maximum number of potential players from actually playing it. Yeah, this is so much more efficient, as you can already see. None of the other methods have got anywhere near as many things. Let's send them to the Pilgrim for now. Just so we can look at what we've just gathered. And we also have the chance of getting high value scrap at the same time. So it's not like we're losing out on getting other things. Yeah, there was a big... No, I've never understood why PvP is the default setting for No Man's Sky. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I was going to look in the Pilgrim's...
Weather update. Storm clearing.
I don't appear to have actually fixed that up. Obviously, I didn't have deuterium at the time for some reason. And we didn't have storm crystals either. Is this a... Was this a storm crystal planet? No. So anyway, so we've got quite a haul there. Phase beam array. Torpedo launcher. I did want to have 2 of those just to kind of even out my ship a bit. Okay. No, I don't. It does. I think when people play expeditions and then they don't realize that they need to turn off PvP, it does create a bit of a strange, I don't know, a new player coming into it and never having done it before. It just feels to me that they're just confusing new players, making them think the game is something that it isn't. Especially as you can't actually shoot people and take their stuff. So what's the point of shooting people? Unless you're in a group that actually likes that, which is fair enough. I've got nothing against it being an option. But it just seems strange that it comes on by default and then upsets people or causes confusion or upset or trolling behavior. And makes no sense. Quite like the flora on this planet. He says destroying a tree. Nope, I may have exhausted the area. Getting caught in water is the last thing you want to do with an exocraft. Unless you're using the... Is it the Pilgrim? I don't like the Pilgrim. Yeah, I may have exhausted the area. Where's that marker? Is it gone now? Looking for that marker for the recently boarded ship, but it doesn't seem to be there now. I guess it may have despawned. Alright, one more haul, and then we'll Let's see what we've got. See what some of this stuff looks like. Wonder what kind of sentient plant this planet has. Nothing else to look for at the moment, so might as well go and have a look. No, it's the boring kind. Aha, there's one. I've lost it now. Where did I go? I thought I had it marked, but maybe I didn't. Where'd it go? I was up there, looking in this direction.
Incoming storm.
Not that. It's not below me. Yes, I saw that in the patch notes, Gravnort, about underground creatures. It doesn't say they will no longer spawn above ground. What it says is it will no longer... basically, they were describing that behavior that I mentioned in the video I made about finding rare creatures, where it will not push them into the terrain and then push them up to the above ground. So we will probably see them above ground far less often. It's actually a good thing because it makes it very confusing for people. They don't realize to look up. As in my video, you could see it happening. It ran into the cave side and then just despawned and respawned at the top of the area. That shouldn't happen. Sometimes I wonder if they watch some of my videos and think, oh, okay, that's why people can't find things. Because they really should have known this a long while ago. It's been happening for years. Ah, look, it is still there. It was interesting that I managed to catch it on camera. I've seen it happen many times when I've not been recording. Catching it on camera obviously makes a huge difference. If they did see the video, it would at least give them an indication that it was genuinely happening, as opposed to a description that's It's not an easy thing to describe. Or it could just be that's one of the people well, that's handy. One of the people that's actually in the bug report team likes to keep abreast of videos to see what's happening. I mean, if they want bugs, they should go and look back at my last stream. We did catch a few, and I haven't reported them, so I'm not seeing anything now. This is one of the well, it's not a problem. I don't consider it a problem that we can't easily find salvage all the time. But this is one of the problems with the method of just searching around on foot, which is why I like to put a bit of distance in when I can't see anything.
Weather update. Storm clearing.
This is not yielding much. See, when it's not stormy, the flora on this planet is quite impressive. What's that? Floating crystals. How far away? Not far, just over the hill. I've got past them. Oh, there they are. It's a bit odd. It doesn't seem to be... The hitboxes seem to be a bit messed up. So it's not doing anything there. These are all acting a little bit strangely. Are they even disappearing? Some of them are. It's all a bit confused. Yeah, there's definitely something going wrong here. Whether it's just because the cluster's too big, it's not your normal cluster. So talking of bugs, I think we're picking one up now. Doesn't like going through those trees. Any more around here? Yes, there are. Neutron cannon is definitely the way to go for these things. If there's no more, I'll stop here and go back to the build system. Nope. Oh no, there is one. It's a bit further though. It might be worth flying to. Have humming sacs been doing that as well then, that not working properly thing?
Weather warning. Incoming storm.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, that sometimes they just don't disappear when they open up. They mess up, and then the pearls remain, even though they're not there. Speedbird diffuser. I'm upside down. Didn't realise. I was just interested in the fact that this is still there. I guess it's a multiplayer thing because it's recently bought. It doesn't necessarily say yours. So if you arrived here as a multiplayer group and then you wanted to get back to the Corvette, sometimes you put two and two together and you realize what they've been doing. But they must have been planning this for quite a while, because it makes much more sense of the exocraft summoning unit. Arrive in a Corvette that's not your own. You don't have your freighter anywhere near you. You've got the ability to summon your exocrafts easily. You can fly around, you can investigate the planet, and then return to the Corvette. Am I missing one? I don't think so. I've often said you can sometimes tell what they're working on by the bugs they don't fix. It's like there's no point for a small development team to fix a bug that will be superseded later by a something you're doing that's changing the game anyway. So, for instance, I mean, I know it's come back a bit anyway, but for a long while, ships flying into these entrances, and you could see them going through the roof. Now, it seems like you still can occasionally, but there was no point in them fixing that because they were changing the space stations and we didn't know it. And they probably had been working on changing the space stations for months, if not years, just incrementally improving them, getting them working. This whole rendering system, the fact that we can see NPCs right over in the distance there, that wasn't possible before they created these space stations. So they had to do a lot of work to get these space stations working. They could have taken a year or two. I'm going to sell a few of these things. So there's no point in them fixing the old space stations when the new space stations were going to solve the problem anyway, potentially. So your favorite bug or your least favorite bug that's been there forever, it might be they're working on something that will completely supersede it anyway.
Units received. Units received.
Should I now won't sell those? Oh, I spotted a part. There it is. That can go in the freighter for now. That can go in the freighter for now. Whoa. refiner bugs. We now have refiners on here. Now, that to me makes me wonder if they've reworked the way that refiners work. We know they have as well, because I've actually got one. Yeah. What I have noticed is sometimes it will turn sideways, so there's a bit of a bug on the rendering. If I put something in here, I can just begin there, but if I throw some in there, it stopped automatically doing it. Now, I didn't like the fact that it automatically did it. Some people did. I wanted to be able to put more than one thing in there. I don't know if it'll let me. No, it won't. I wanted to be able to put, say, some of that, some of that, some of that, and then open it, and it would be in the different slots. But here you'll see that you can't just start it, because it's said 0, 0, because I didn't bring it in. If I place it in, it goes to 16. So that suggests they've changed the code for refiners. So have they been working on a new way of refiners operating? Could be that they're trying to change them a bit. And this, because they've brought in a new type of refiner, then maybe that has been the reason, the catalyst for changing it. So again, you can never be sure. Not getting that weird turn sideways bug now. And considering they're always changing such broad brushstroke things, like this, for instance, then you never know what they're working on. The game is almost unrecognizable from when I started playing it. Right, I've tidied up a bit. Let's have a look at some of these parts, see what they look like. I'll make a save first so that because I've noticed there are some bugs in this system where if you delete things, they just disappear. So there's I keep turning around. I think it turns around. Let's just test that a second. If I just get out of the thing, yeah, it stands me up. If I move, I don't know what's confusing me. It's pointing me that way, so I need to turn round, but I don't need to turn round with my character, perhaps. Maybe that's what I'm doing. I don't want to do this first. First of all, I want to work on it. Modify. Want to move that. No, I haven't moved the stuff out of my thing, have I? Apply edits. All matches must be connected. Have I not? Does it not allowed there or something? No, it doesn't look like it is it? It says I can put it there, but then it doesn't like it. That could work. It's a bit weird looking, but the whole ship's a bit weird looking. I don't even have a creative save to just kind of just throw parts together. Oh, I had one of those. Was it something else? I don't see a weapon there now. Does it? Had it used up the other one? All right, this is why we needed to have a restore point. 14 levels of modules below the space station floor. I keep going into the ship in order to build the ship. I don't want to do that. That's still there, so it's obviously the restore point is obviously. I'll just do it one more just in case, but it doesn't look like it's worked. It doesn't look like I could save beforehand. Yeah, it's still there. Never mind. I think I may have lost that part because I'm pretty sure I had another one. Yeah. Now that's odd. It's kept, the save has kept that there, and that's where I just put it, and it was here. And yet the other part of the save. Oh, no, I didn't. Yes, I did do that first, didn't I? I think. I'll have to look back and check to see if there's a bug there. So I don't have a weapon at all there. I thought I got one. Make sure I haven't put it somewhere else. Nope. Oh, of course, I had some in my pilgrim. So I'm going to go and get the pilgrim. That was an exotic just flying in. Has there been another experimental build since yesterday, do you know? I think they've deliberately made these doors too small to drive the pilgrim into.
Thermal protection falling.
Yeah, it's not going to fit through that gap there. Anyway, exocraft to the starship. Yeah, I knew I had another one. And some people have said that there was a build limit of 100 parts for the main core of the ship. Is that correct? Did you hit a build limit at any point? Yes. I went to 216 and the game crashed. See, I also think people are confusing complexity with build limits, which is often a problem, especially when a game is only just introduced a new system and people that are reporting the problems don't fully understand what complexity is. I'm just doing that because they're the things I want to keep there. So let's have a look at some of these parts. How long are these? They're quite long. They're quite nice. So I wonder. Now, this is the problem I'm having, is that some things, if you delete them, they disappear. So if I delete this, for instance, no, I think I already had one, but do I have two that I can? Of course, I can't build two anyway, so there's no way of telling. And it's also not clear if it's a bug. Because it could be that you actually do spend them whenever you build them. It mentions something about spending. See, I didn't get it back. When I deleted it, it just went. I happen to have another one anyway. But maybe if I reload. It's definitely something where you want to keep reloading. Because it's easier to just move things rather than delete them if you want to do things like this. So go back to modify. It's better for me to say, for instance, move that and try and position it somewhere else. And if it doesn't move, then position something else that allows it to be positioned on. For instance, don't know if I've got anything. They won't be allowed to be positioned. What I should probably do is buy a standard piece.
Product received.
So if I just chuck that there, theoretically I should be able to position that. I know, I need to move it, not duplicate it. So I can put that there for temporarily. And then see if I can position... Wrong buttons. Where was that part? I wanted to see how long that would be on the front. And whether you could attach this to it in any way. No, you can't, but you can probably put something under it. So you could mess around like that. And that's a lot safer to do, to move things around on your build rather than delete them, because it just seems like deleting them, they just disappear sometimes, if not all the time. Golden. I think we've seen that one before in my streams. That's not an ideal positioning for those wings. By side glitch, do you mean adjacency or do you mean a different glitch? Right, I'm only really looking at parts at the moment. I don't know why I'm focusing. It would be nice if you could move this up. Like, just move the whole model up so that you could... Because at the moment it's all based on this part. And they are extendable. So lift model would be a good option to have. What else have we got here? Oh, they can actually sit on top. Interesting. I've really not played around with this much yet. Can't put them side by side there. So you'd have to put something behind it to position it first. It's interesting that when I went to move that, it shows that the thing I've hung from underneath it can't be stood there. So it's giving you reds for errors. These are non-symmetrical, which I find odd. Don't seem to be able to rotate, but you can flip them with the left trigger. So, okay, so that makes sense. So they are non-symmetrical, but you can change them. Yeah, there's not a part rotate. So you wouldn't be able to do adjacency. So what do you mean, Gary 420 high, by the way? What do you mean by the side glitch works? What do you mean by side glitch? It's very blocky. What are these? I'm gonna reload in a second, I think. Move apart from green state to a red state of a quick. Oh yeah, it's a bit like slide. I thought you said side, unless you did say side, and I don't know. I maybe just read it wrong. Yes, slide glitch, as in the way you can build on freighters just slightly outside of your build area. All right, actually, with this save, I believe I still had the stuff. Still need to transfer stuff, so I should make another save, really. I've spawned randomly a few times when I load into the game. Well, see, I have had a couple of problems with that. I've also spawned in the wall of my Corvette. I did it on the stream earlier as well, which I had to get out of with the sofa trick. It's basically you sit on a sofa and pull yourself onto a sofa. And sometimes when you sit on a sofa, you'll just sink when you're on a Corvette. And so that got me out of the build area. But if that doesn't work, you can just keep putting sofas further out until you're outside of the build area completely, and then you can jump off. It needs a reposition yourself like the freighter does. Right, we're looking at parts. What else have we got? These are obviously these are more decorative. That's quite large though. Doesn't have any doesn't have any obvious rotation. I've seen these before. These are just making it look a little bit more junky. Making it a bit more hot roddy. Making it look a bit more like the Millennium Falcon. Nothing else there. Yeah, this is the thing. I wasn't sure what this was. It's something that can rotate much better. So that can make things a bit more rounded. Presumably in the other direction as well. Only downwards. Oh no, it's got a flip vertical. So we can flick it underneath things. Excellent, that's nice. Should maybe make a completely different one. See, that's the crazy thing. If I these spotlights here are really bright when you're not in build mode. But when you're in build mode, they're not. They should be really giving you a spotlight, and they don't. That's huge, that one. That's nice. That has rotation and flipping. As does that one. Yeah, I mean, let's put that on the screen. I think it works, doesn't it? I think you can you put them on the top? Do they stay there? That's almost like a piece of a interceptor. I like the way that some things allow you to overlap. You can make unusual shapes. Because like a little bit like I made a fake gun emplacement here by putting a gun outside the window and then putting a chair just inside there. You could theoretically put chairs and kind of fake gun emplacements on the roof. Like I could put some kind of chair behind this one. Well, that's a very large part. Again, can be flipped. Excellent. Is that similar to what I already have on here? Is it even the same? Arcadia S foil. Yeah, I think it's the same. Yeah. Oh, that's a nice part. It doesn't flip because it's symmetrical. Yeah, definitely plenty to play around with. I'll have to make a new ship on a different stream, I think. I've already passed my traditional 3 hours, so I probably won't start. Because once you start going down build routes, then you can be here forever. And just make sure I haven't messed up anything and whether I should reload or not. No, I think everything's okay. I don't really like those torpedoes there, but I can't find a better place to put them on this build at the moment. Maybe I could slide them underneath here. If they let me. Let's see if they actually do flip. Yeah, they do. Makes more sense there anyway. Yeah. I mean, as you can see, I'm going for a kind of a heavily armoured warbird kind of look, which is quite blocky. Not really that well thought through. I'm sure I could make a better one if I put some time into it, but I did this yesterday evening when I was quite tired. But I don't think it's too bad. It just needs a little bit of refinement on some of these edges. Some of these, the way these parts here sit together isn't quite right. It needs a bit of movement. Something else instead of these parts, perhaps. I didn't have many parts last night. Yeah, I've heard people mention squids. And people saying, oh, finally we can have squids that fly in the right direction. Which, of course, is the way squids move fast. But if they're attacking, they'll turn around and grab. So I've never had a problem with the way the squids were in the game. This has been coming back very, very regularly. Why has it got a broken part? That's odd. It's got a water exposed part. I have no idea if those positions are any good or not. Covenant, I wouldn't know Halo, I'm afraid. I'm not a big gamer in terms of playing a variety of games. If I was, I would be more of a variety streamer and wouldn't just wait until the new No Man's Sky content came out. So unfortunately, I don't know much about other games. I often joke that there are no other games. Right, I'm going to take myself back to the freighter and then finish off. So, in summary, it would seem that of all of the methods of getting parts, unless you're looking for variation, scouring a planet for salvage is definitely the best option. But they are available in cargo pods on freighters, but you need to find the ones that specifically say cargo pod. If you shoot the ones that say anything else, then you're not likely to get anything, I don't think. So shooting the cargo pod ones that say cargo pod gives you a percentage chance of a part. We get them in derelicts, and that's reliable but not repeatable. So you can always get them in derelicts, but you're not always going to get the same part in the same system, which I was hoping we maybe would. Look, my arm is doubling. Look, there's a visual glitch with my arm where the arm is just slightly doubling. I wonder if that's something to do with the proximity of the... It's just some weird distortion going on. So where were we? Pods. Let's pull up the list that we had earlier that we were all going off of. So modules can be unearthed from salvage containers buried on world. So that seems to be the most common and definitely the best way, it seems. As well as discovered in derelict freighters, yes, they're always going to be in derelict freighters at the last terminal at the end of the thing where you select what you want as your main reward. And you get a nice little haul, but what you don't get is the same thing every time per system, which is a bit of a shame. Mods can also be sometimes retrieved from defeated pirates. We demonstrated that, but it seems like it's like 1 in 9, 1 in 10 or something. It's not very common. Freighter cargo pods, we demonstrated that you had to choose the actual cargo pods, but the ones that say cargo pod and don't have anything listed in them. But even then, not every one that says that will give you one. So there's going to be a drop rate for that too. Crash freighter crates, we found them in crash freighter crates, but again, the percentage chance seemed very low. It didn't seem like it was worth it. Frigate expeditions, obviously, we haven't just run a load of frigate expeditions, but that's always going to be, you're going to get some every now and again. So that's kind of passive anyway. And received as rewards for completing missions. Again, well, if you spot them and you want to do that particular mission, fair enough, go ahead and do it. But that's not really a strategy as such. So the main strategy does appear to be, as the game kind of heavily hints at the beginning, see if that distortions, to do the planets. So to go to, why am I getting, am I somewhere near a black hole or something? Sorry, I'm easily distracted by visual bugs. But I think I got through the whole list then. Don't seem to be. And hello games, please move this from here. This is the stupidest place to put it. It should be on the bridge, if anything. No distortion. There's no black hole or anything. I think it's a problem with the way they've changed transparency, and it's affecting other things. Okay, so that's where I'm going to finish off. I've been Pharaoh, and thanks for watching. And I will probably, because I'm still kind of quite interested in this, I'll probably either stream Friday or Monday, so keep an eye out. I'll usually put out a starting soon if I'm going to be doing so in the next hour or so. But other than that, thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.